Miss Transformers 96 here with another movie review. So of course I'm reviewing Thor the Dark World movie. I struggle with my backgrounds when I do movie reviews. I never know what to do. Typically I just film my toy collection, I just film the toys from that movie, and that's it. I decided to change it up a little bit. I decided to do some poses from direct scenes in both Thor 1 and Thor the Dark World, and just to change it up, give you guys something to look at and stuff like that. So I will show the poses, take the camera and actually show them at the end of this review of the movie, but just gave you a little background to look at. So overall, Thor the Dark World came out November 8th in the United States, and so like compared to the other Marvel movie, I'm going to talk a lot about Iron Man 3, because Iron Man 3 is the other movie that came out this year from Marvel, not from Fox or anybody. So with Iron Man 3, like the trailer for Iron Man 3 I thought looked fantastic, and the movie was very disappointing. This trailer for Thor, it didn't look like anything special. It looked okay. It looked like a decent, little Marvel movie, but it didn't look great. And I was a little worried, because the first two Marvel attempts this year, which had been Iron Man 3 is generally disliked by comic book fans. Some comic book fans, like it. Some of them hate it, but I'd say more than not, people were disappointed by it, comic book fans at least. The general public seemed to like it. And then we go to the other Marvel attempt of the year, which is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the television show, which is generally thought as a disappointment. And I also think that, as much as I wanted it to be a cool show, it just wasn't very good. And I still watch it because, of course, it is, it's a Marvel TV show, you gotta watch it. But I have to say, rather disappointing on the whole. So going into this movie, I was a little worried. I thought maybe they tried to change their direction so much since Avengers, that maybe this wasn't going to be a great movie as well, especially since the trailer didn't offer anything too special. It didn't look that good. So yes, I was very pleasantly surprised when I actually saw the movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and it's not just the first time I saw it I enjoyed it, but I've seen the movie 3 times now, and I love it. I think it's an excellent Marvel movie, and really just gave me what I wanted to see from like Iron Man, So I'm very happy with this movie this year, and I'm generally happy. Let's go over some characters. So the minor human characters, of course, we've got Selvig, Dr. Selvig. He was in Thor plus Avengers, and of course, since Loki took over his mind, he's a little nuts. He's more of a comedian character in this movie, and I like that kind of role with him, because you did see sometimes he was like really nutty, and in other times he seemed normal, so it was a little strange that he kept flip-flopping, but hey, I think that his character overall was very fun, and his nuttiness, really was a nice addition to the character, to make the character a little different. So I did overall like that. Darcy's the same in this movie, except she kind of like finds a guy in this movie pretty much, but she's generally the same. She had more jokes than the first one, I think, and overall she's very funny. Her humor is pretty unique, the way that she can deliver it, which is very neat to see. So overall, like Darcy, nothing too much to say though. You've got a new character, a new intern. He's kind of goofy like Darcy and everything, so he works out fine. He's nothing too special though. And then of course you got Jane Foster. Jane Foster is very good in this role. I don't think it's a very hard role to pull off by Natalie Portman, but I still think it's pretty neat, and it's neat to see her go into Asgard and have her be a main, kind of like focus of the story. Before, she was just kind of helping Thor, but Thor was the focus. In this, a lot of things are happening that are around her and because of her, so that's kind of interesting. You've got like Odin and Heimdall, both characters I really liked in the first movie, and they were just expanded upon in the second movie, which I really love. Heimdall was very cool in this. I like his costume a lot better than the first one. There's very few differences, but the differences do look really nice. You do get to see him fight a tiny bit more than the first movie, which is neat. And overall, I like his character. Odin, it was very good. I liked him in the first movie. I really liked him in this one. I love it when, he can be talking so calm, and then he, just raises his voice almost to a shout, and I really love that. I think it adds such gravity to the conversation, and that's just Anthony Hopkins, you know, he's awesome. So really enjoyed Odin. I thought his costume was a lot better than the first movie, and that was fantastic. Thor's mother, and this is a spoiler review. You know, it's in the title. I always forget to say it when I start talking about the movie, but this is, of course, a spoiler review. Thor's mother, I thought was great. In the first movie, we barely got anything with her. In this movie, she actually fights a little bit, and she is the death that kind of motivates everybody. You know, in Avengers, it was Coulson. Now it's Thor's mother. I really enjoyed her character, and I thought that she was fantastic for this movie. The Warriors 3 were okay. I mean, Volstagg was okay. Fandral was a different actor, of course, because the actor who played him originally signed up for the TV show Once Upon a Time and was not able to film for this one. So they went with one of their original choices to play Fandral. So he was nothing special. I mean, Volstagg and Fandral were just okay. Hogan got gypped. I don't know what it was. I don't know if they decided it's just too many characters if he's in it, and we really won't have anything for him to do, so let's just kind of throw him out of this movie, or if it was actually the person that played Hogan did not have time to shoot. I don't know what it was, but Hogan was in one scene where he actually like fought in a battle. He said literally two things, and then we never see him again. At the end of the movie, we see him really quick look up into the sky. So, I mean, he didn't spend more than one day on the Thor set, so I don't know what was up with that or why he was gypped, but he was. So I felt that the Warriors 3 were just about the only characters that weren't developed anymore in this movie, unfortunately. Sif was very cool. Of course, she hurt herself pretty bad on the set of Thor, so that might have limited maybe her scenes or something. I don't know, but she was very good in the scenes that she was in. I was expecting to see more of her because when I first heard about the story for Thor 2, it sounded like she was going to be a big part of it because, you know, it would be like the kind of struggle between, you know, Thor, you know, with Natalie Portman and you know, Jane Foster and Sif, but she wasn't in it as much as I expected, but still she was fine, a good character. Loki is a character that's loved by all. I liked him in the first Thor. I liked him in Avengers. I didn't like him too much in Avengers, but I liked him in the first Thor. I kind of liked him in Avengers. And this movie, I really just learned to kind of love Loki. I absolutely love the character now. I always liked his dynamic with Thor, but other than that, as a villain, I didn't, you know, he was just all right. I liked it when he was interacting with Thor more. And I guess this movie is completely all interacting with Thor, so maybe that's why I liked him so much in this movie, but I really loved him. I thought that it was a great way to humanize him a little bit more, because in Avengers he was mainly just a cold-hearted villain. They didn't really have any too much of his, what he felt and stuff. Really loved this movie. One of my favorite things about this movie is when Thor, after Thor's mom died and everything, Thor goes to enlist Loki's help, and he goes to his cell, you know, and Loki's all very confident and everything, you know, in his slick kind of clothes, and you know, Thor says, "No more illusions." So Loki, that was apparently all an illusion, so he takes off the illusion so he can see what he really is doing, you know, in his cell, and the whole place is just, like, destroyed, all the furniture that was in the cell, and he is just, you know, on the ground, very long hair in, you know, just regular crap clothes, and he got some blood and everything. I loved how much his mother's death actually affected him. That was something so neat to see that I absolutely loved, and I really liked what they did with Loki. They kind of redeemed him. I mean, he really did seem like he was actually doing this for his brother. Of course, he has his own motives, but it really seems like one of the pluses for what he was doing was to kind of make amends with his brother. So I thought that was so cool. And of course, it ends with Loki being pretty much the ruler of Asgard. Not with anybody knowing, but with him kind of ruling Asgard. So I thought that was great. Loki was fantastic in the movie. We go to the villains. The Black Elves, they looked really cool. They weren't anything special. They were just the standard soldiers that get wasted fast and stuff. Nothing too special with them, but I don't mind that because the other villains were really great. You've got Curse. Curse did a lot more than I expected in this movie. I really loved him. I'm really glad that he wasn't a CGI character, that they actually did full makeup and everything. I thought that was fantastic. It made him feel just realer, and he was incredibly powerful. I mean, he could smash Thor's hammer away. I mean, this this was like the one villain where Thor could not get a punch in, which was just so cool, since we've never really seen that. I mean, the Destroyer was quite menacing, but, you know, after one hit of the Destroyer, Thor got his power and just took the Destroyer out. So it was so cool to see Thor so helpless with Curse. I thought Curse was a great villain. Malekith, really loved Malekith. I thought that Chris Ecclesheim, I don't know, the doctor, however you say his actor's name, but I thought that he did a good job. I think that a lot of people could have played him. You know, it's not like the doctor made the character or anything. He was anybody could have played him, but I thought that the villain was really good, very powerful, very menacing. I really liked the makeup; it looked really good on him, and he just seemed to really just be a nice, perfect villain for this role. You know, just somebody that just basically wants what they once had back, pretty much. So really did love the villain. I thought that he was great. I'm super upset that he's getting just screwed with the toys. I mean, Hasbro has not announced anything about a Malekith figure, and so far Hot Toys hasn't either. Hot Toys takes a while to get their characters out, so he very well might be made into a Hot Toys, but as of right now, he might never be. So I don't know. I hope that we get some toys of Malekith, because we sure would love him. So yeah, I overall loved it. I mean, one of my favorite scenes as well is when the Dark Elf ship kind of crashes into Asgard. A whole bunch of the elves, you know, kind of run out of the ship and fight the Asgardian royal army, and they are all fighting and everything, and Malekith gets out, just kind of walks past them all, takes a grenade from the Dark Elf's belt, and I was like, oh, if he does what I think he's going to do, I'm going to love it. And he just turns it on and just throws it just to destroy Odin's, you know, throne. It doesn't kill anybody or anything, it just destroys his seat, and I thought that was hilarious. Such a really cool and probably realistic thing that somebody might do in that position. So I absolutely love that, to see that. That was so cool. The music in this movie, there is one particular song that they used that I really love the sound of, and it was only when the Dark Elves were on screen. It was kind of that villain sound. I don't know, it's got a very Dark Knight feel, as well as in Iron Man 3, when the Mandarin, you know, when we still thought he was the Mandarin, got out of like the limo or whatever and was going into the house. That music that was playing like right there, it's that type of sound. The song's called Untouchable from from the Thor soundtrack. If you want to look it up, I love that sound that's in it. I can't explain it. I'm not good with instruments, so I can't identify what instrument is making the sound, but I really do love the way it sounds. I think it's so cool, and overall really did love it. Of course, the middle credit scene is fantastic. Another thing, oh sorry, before I go into that, the comedy in this movie I thought was very funny, but they also knew when to kind of turn it off. I mean, when something serious was happening, there wasn't any comedy. That's one thing that I didn't like about Iron Man 3. Just like during every scene, you know, Tony Stark is just cracking jokes, like when he's fighting the extremist soldier, the woman, I don't know her name from the movie or anything, but when they're fighting, you know, he's just cracking jokes as he's fighting her. It's like, I don't want to hear this. It sounds like you're just kind of saying your lines and you're not even doing it, you know, like Tony Stark would or anything. So I really just didn't like that. I love this Thor movie. It was very funny. Had a lot of funny things to it, had some great cameos as well, and but they shut it off when it was time to shut it off, which I thought was great. I mean, it's fantastic. So that's something that I thought that they did really well. Now I guess I'll talk about the end credit scene. So yeah, so when I was in Iron Man, you know, I keep going back to Iron Man, but you know, it has a lot to do with it. When I was in Iron Man, I really hated the movie by the time it was over. I was so disappointed, and I was like, well, I hope that the end credit scene is really cool and it sets up Thor or Captain America or somebody else that sets up another movie. And then we got to the end credits and it's just another joke, and it's like, oh my god, I'm done with this. So I was kind of expecting that for Thor, because I thought maybe that they had transitioned their end credit scene to just be funny stuff, because Avengers had 2 end credit scenes. One was funny, one was serious. Iron Man only had 1 and it was just funny. So I thought maybe they had started to transition to just being funny end credit scenes. The middle credit scene was great, and it was not funny at all. It had to do with another movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. It pretty much set up the Infinity Gauntlet comic series is going to happen in movies. They've got the Tesseract and now the Ether, which will be 2 of the Infinity Stones in Thanos' Gauntlet, Infinity Gauntlet, and they have 4 more to get, and it sounds like in Guardians of the Galaxy, they'll get at least one more stone. So hopefully in Avengers 3, Thanos will have the complete Infinity Gauntlet, and they could have a really fantastic movie. So, really did love that. The Collector, very strange, out of ordinary character, which felt a little strange in Thor, but in Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it's going to be kind of normal because the director is a little wacky. So, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be a pretty strange movie, and a lot of people won't like it, but I think a lot of people will also like it. So, so I love the end credits scene. It's fantastic. And then after all the credits, there's another scene. I actually didn't wait for it. The 3 times I saw it, I didn't wait for it because I didn't know about it, but I did watch it on the computer, and that's, it's nothing special, but it's, kind of funny. So yeah, so overall, really did love the movie. I thought that it had some great stuff with it. The actors were fantastic, and the entire original cast returned, excluding Fandral, so I really enjoyed that. So yeah, so overall, a great movie with a strong, cool villain, some great humor, but knew when to turn the humor off and go serious, and overall, a just well-performed movie. I absolutely enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend it to any of you. Plus, if you saw it in IMAX, you did get a clip from the Captain America the First Avenger, as well as a revised trailer. It's basically the first trailer, but it's got some new stuff in it. That was really cool, because the 3rd time I saw this movie, I saw it in IMAX, so that was great to see and everything, so yeah. So now my review of the movie is over. Let me just talk about these poses really fast. Thor's just in here so that he can be the center of the thing. He's not in a pose or anything. You've got Loki here killing a dark elf like he kind of did right before he saw that Curse was kind of beating up Loki. Or Curse was kind of beating up Thor. You've got Heimdall right after he breaks out of the ice in Thor 1 and he kills the 2 guards that are behind him. He's just kind of stabbing this one frost giant, and this other frost giant's just kind of walking up because he's just noticing that he broke out of the ice. You've got the Destroyer fighting the Warriors 3, like he did in New Mexico in the first movie. You've got Odin taking away Thor's hammer and casting him out, because he's a greedy, vain boy. So yeah, so that's from the first movie as well. And then from the second movie, you've got Curse beating up Thor. So there you go. Hope you liked the pose. Hope you liked my review of the movie, and I'd love to hear your thoughts of the movie, and thanks so much for watching.